The restaurants you love, the food you crave, and the people that make it all happen. We tell their stories on the Paper Trails podcast with Albemarle Paper Supply.
What's going on, guys? How are you? Nick Calgaro-Mitros, host of the Paper Trails podcast, and this is episode 15 of our second season, and I'm super pumped to have Will on with us from Stomp, Chomp Roll, right? And so we're here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I guess that's the umbrella company to Flying Biscuit, Pizza Peel, and Improper Pig. And we met through some mutual friends and had a conversation several weeks ago, and we wanted to talk about the food industry, entrepreneurship, how you got into the scene, and every part of that. The good, the struggle, the awesome, the benefits, the things that you're learning about business today. And so thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah,
and so I guess let's maybe start in the beginning. How did you get into the food industry? How did you even start? You know, obviously you have a couple different concepts. And so, but where did it all begin? Where are you from, Charlotte?
Since fourth grade. So my dad's from Morganton, North Carolina.
Okay, up the road.
Yep, he was in the furniture business, ended up moving up north with the furniture business, had my brother in Detroit, had me in Chicago, got sick of the winters, started looking to get back down south. So that's when he started looking into franchising. Okay. And Burger King was expanding at that point. So that was the late 70s. And so he ended up becoming a Burger King franchisee.
So from furniture to Burger King.
Yep.
How did that even,
Yeah, it's a great story in itself, because he was making, back then, he was a salesman and just driving the roads, Chicago, Detroit, all up north, but he just got sick of the winters. But he was making really good money. Sure. For that time frame, but they wanted to get back down south badly. Okay. So he just started looking into different franchise. And Burger King, like I said, was looking to expand, so it seemed like a great opportunity.
Did he have an interest in the food business, or it just so happened that but he was interested in franchising?
I think he was. I'd have to ask him directly, but he was just interested in getting back down south. Okay. What could get him back down south? Okay. The franchise business, I guess, was a model that he had looked at. I don't know. That's a great question that I'll ask him. What exacly? Why? How many franchises he looked into? Interesting. I just took it from the Okay, Burger King was the first one. So. Okay, so how was that? That was great. He's still a franchisee up until now. Okay. They've got about 23 or so to 28 different locations. Wow. That they've grown over time. I started in Albemarle, North Carolina. That was
our neck of the woods.
Yeah, that was the first BK. So he trained at the one in Salisbury. Okay. That's where he trained.
That's where I live.
Yeah, okay. So then from there, late 70s, they went down there, opened up the Burger King. So my early memories, because my mom would work the day shift, my dad would night, and so after school, we lived in Burger King. We'd go to Burger King, hang out, and my mom would take us home, and so I grew up, like I said, in Burger King.
That's so funny. Will you say that? That's exactly how I felt growing up in restaurants too. I mean, I remember literally 7, 9, 11 years old, playing with my brother, tic-tac-toe, drawing in the office. We had a small little office, or we'd be out front in the corner in the back or something, That's so interesting. You say that.
Birthday party, that's where I had my birthday party. I can remember, when you say that, that brings up a story for me. I can remember my brother finding a green snake, and we brought it in, and we were just playing with it at the table in Burger King, and he's like, gotta go on the shirt. People are like, what? That's a memory I remember.
I love that. Here's a story for you.
We were Burger King.
I think it was Sunday after church. We went to the restaurant and we were playing, and somehow we were wrestling around, and I think my cousin grabbed my brother's shoe and threw it. And it landed in the lady's clam chowder. I'm like, out of all places, the shoe lands. I remember probably the beating we took for that one. But
was it the red or the white? No.
It was the white. But anyway, that's so funny. Yeah. Okay, so grew up in the restaurants.
Grew up, breaking down boxes, picking up cigarette butts, chewing gum, scraping it from the drive-thru. That was our job. And then I got tall enough to work the drink station and drive-thru.
Nice.
So that was where it was at, because I could have one and serve one. So I was like, I'm tall enough. I can order this. So
I love that.
That was the Burger King. And then from there, Albemarle, we moved to Florence, South Carolina, because my dad started with the one BK and then picked up 3 there.
Okay.
And then we moved to Charlotte when I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
And so I've been in Charlotte ever since. So.
Cool. What's something that you learned from working in Burger King, seeing Dad own Burger Kings?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Is there anything that you learned from that, like that model franchising? Like, what's something that, you know?
From the model of franchising, for like with Burger King, they give you a great, like, you know, they support you a lot in a lot of different ways. So I think it works. I personally think I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do you franchise something, but then that with the restaurants that everyone makes money instead of just the people at the top. So I'm trying to figure like how you do that piece.
Gotcha.
But the franchising business, yeah. I mean, I just grew up. What I learned the most was just hard work in any business. So, you know, you learn hard work. It's just, you know,
that's the commonality.
It's a lot of getting your hands dirty, and people see like, oh, that place. You know, you're in the restaurant business. Oh my God, look, they're busy. They're crushing it. Da, da, da. But they don't see the hard work that goes in from everyone.
Yeah.
You know, everyone that's working in the restaurant business.
That's so true.
Especially in COVID right now. You know.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, that is pulling extra shifts, pulling extra hours. Yeah. It's whatever it takes. I was just telling Darius, you know, last week I was on the truck, literally delivering. One of my guys, you know, when my driver's dad passed away, and, you know, my backup driver wasn't fully trained yet. And I was like, you know what? Guess what? You know, 12 years in, you know, Nick's hopping on a truck and delivering products to Hickory and Winston and Charlotte, and, you know. So, okay, cool. So you grew up that 4th grade, Charlotte, and then what? You knew you wanted to get in the food business, or how did that?
The food business come along? Well, my parents are really good cooks too. My mom's always amazing cooking everything, and my dad.
Favorite dish is what from mom?
Probably the barbecue chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Okay,
but,
all right.
But there's so many like great dishes that she does.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
She's great, and my dad's the griller. So. Always got into it, and then I went to college at Charleston.
Okay.
Once I left here, and was down there and was studying for about a year and a half, looking at a business degree. But then I was like, you know what? There's just something about the restaurant business that I'm gonna probably get into it. I don't know I didn't really have a dream of like, oh, this is what I want to do, da da da. But I was like, that's probably what I'm gonna get into.
Gotcha.
So I transferred over to Johnson Wales down there, did their program, and then came back here to Charlotte for a little bit. Lived up in New Jersey for a year or so. When I came back to Charlotte, at that point, I worked at Mimosa Grill for a while.
Okay.
And then just
still
doing
open?
everything. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, doing everything in the kitchen. So after that, moved up to New Jersey, spent a year and a half.
Was Mimosa where you learned a lot of your, so that was your first job after college, after Johnson & Wales?
Yeah, that was, well, all through college I worked at a suit shop at 319 Men.
Okay.
Which is a suit, it was probably one of my
best. Your first food job, your first food one.
Yeah, outside of Burger King, working, you know.
So what was that experience
15,
like?
16. It was great. I love kitchen, you know. I'm a doer, so I like to just organizing prep and saute or grill or just like learning all that. It's very hands-on, which I enjoy. So.
Okay, so then New Jersey?
Learning great food, quality food. Then moved up to Jersey. Worked for a gentleman named Tim Schaefer. He's the brew chef. He was big. He's moved since down here.
Okay.
But anyways, I think he's working with Primal Brewery now, I believe. But worked up there in Jersey for a year and a half, right outside New York City. Working in restaurants. Then from there, came back down. A friend of mine that was actually the pastry chef at Mimosa Grill. He and I, before I left, I would go in early and just learn how to do baking because I was plating his desserts when I was working salad station. I was like, oh my God, these things are awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in and start learning like how this is done. So I would come in.
So just out of pure just inquisitive, you wanting to learn, you came in extra hours.
Yeah, on my own time, just because I want to and this past 2 weekends ago, I did a cake for my assistant director of operations, you know, so I did his wedding cake, which is cool based off of just learning that and knowing like, hey, here, I'm serving these things. They're amazing. I want to know how to make them.
I mean, there's a tip in that. I mean, for anybody watching this, I mean, you know, there's there's no lack of just opportunities to learn if you just want it bad enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're in front of us all the time.
All the time. And you don't have to get paid for it. If you want to learn bad enough, you can just go on your own time and shadow and just be a protege to somebody that is a master at something. That's awesome. I love
art. I'll show you after this. You can have I made a chocolate cake too, a 5-layer chocolate cake that we call the mood enhancer. So I do chocolate mousse between devil's food cake, 5-layer, and then I use semi-sweet chocolate for the mousse and then dark chocolate for the ganache. So it's ganache too. But those are the tips that I learned.
You don't have to twist my arm for dessert, so All right.
But just learning that. And so then actually when I moved back down to New Jersey, I'm from North Carolina, New Jersey, the lady I was dating at the time, she was moved overseas with Maersk Shipping Company. Okay. So, and my brother was living in London. So I was like, well, I didn't want to be like in Denmark. So, but in London, I was like, this will be perfect. And so I went over and visited my brother, and then I went into a couple of restaurants, and they're like, we can't get a work visa for someone from the States because we gotta hire out of here. He's like, it's gonna be super hard. Yeah. So ended up coming back to the States after that, and that was in 2000. So I was over there for a few weeks. I spent the millennium over there. That was pretty crazy. Nice. But anyways.
Y2K.
Yeah, exactly. Watch out. We're still going. This works. Is this mic on? Anyways, came back, opened up Bellini's Desserts with the pastry chef. So we were doing caterings too, but we also, at that point, Dean and DeLuca's had closed down their Phillips Place bakery, and they started sourcing things out. So we started doing stuff for Phillips Place, and then from there we went to all 5 of their Dean and DeLuca locations, as well as we did different restaurants in Charlotte provided their desserts, like Red Box Cafe. We did stuff for them. We did stuff for Harper's. Yeah. And then we do wedding cakes, and then also having the food background, we do caterings as well. So.
Now, did you know that you wanted to start? How did the dessert idea happen? Like, is that something that you had thought about? You were like, hey, we should do it? Was it?
It came from coming back, and I worked at that point too. When I came back, I worked at Bistro 100, which was uptown. Okay. That was they had restaurants in Chicago. Very nice place right there in the buildings. But anyways, that's Levy Group. Okay. But worked with the pastry chef because I was like, I'm just going to get part-time hours as I'm trying to see if I can work in London. Okay. So I was working with him, and then when the London thing didn't come back, he was like, hey, I'm ready to leave this. Let's do something on our own. So that just kind of happened. Okay.
More of an organic, like.
Yeah, I mean, we literally rented a U-Haul and went up to Bowery Street, the Bowery up in New York, because at that time, equipment, right? We went there, took a U-Haul, got all our equipment, and headed back down.
I love that.
I got a pizza oven from the Bowery down in, I think we ended up having like $20,000 or $30,000, $25,000 to spend on it. So we got ovens and we got some mixers and brought it back, and we were in a place over off of Shopton Road. Okay. So we were in the back of a warehouse. The front part of the warehouse was they did all the vending machines. Okay. So they supplied vending machines, and they're a company out of Columbia. But so we just literally had this little hut in the back that was a kitchen that was already there that had a walk-in and a walk-in freezer. Okay. So we started doing desserts and delivering, which is good because we're close to the airport. And
what did you learn from that venture? Like, what did you learn from desserts, like that whole thing?
Just more. I would say, I'm an everyday learner, so just learning all the time, and whether it's you're dealing with people and delivering their desserts, and the thing with patience, I would say number one, because with desserts. Right? You're working the saute line. You're going to work in the grill. You mess up, whatever. I got you. Boom. 10 minutes later.
Next one, yeah.
Desserts, you sitting there cutting that cake, and you're like, shit, I cut that into 14 when it's supposed to be 12. And then
it's done.
Like, it's done. I can't take it to my customer like, yeah, I know you usually get it in 12, but I messed up in 14. Then you're just going, okay, well, that just took probably 15 hours of work. Because what we used to do is we'd make them in batches. So You do like 15 or so at a time. So if it was the last one, you're like, So yeah, I would say patience, delivering. I mean, in the back of the car, delivering all these desserts when it's 95 degrees out in the summertime. You got to stop at 4 places before you get a refrigerator truck. So patience and hustling.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so you're doing desserts.
Yep.
Then what's the next progression?
Progression from there is that business. My business partner and I just had some things that happened, which happens with people.
Yeah.
So he was the pastry chef, and Bellini's his last name was Bellini.
Okay.
So, and he's still a pastry chef, but we were just not seeing eye to eye. So I was like, well, I'll just go back to Burger King and start working there because I know I have something I can,
fall back into.
Okay. You take it. What ended that I did that, and then that didn't work out for him. So he ended up trying to close it down, but my name was on the lease. So I ended up going back into that and getting the customers, sitting down with customers going, I know we said we're closing, but we're not. Yeah. And I'm here to deliver. Just knowing that I got to pay rent. Yeah. Surprise, exactly. So, there again, just figuring it out. Like, I think that's all these lessons for me have been just figuring out what that next, you can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's...
Stay open to something and it's there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that because, you're not sure what obstacles that any business is going to, like right now it's supply issue. Mm-hmm. Last year was COVID, whatever. I mean, we were joking about it earlier, but like the Y2K thing, I mean, like whatever. I mean, you don't know what exactly is going to happen. So you have to be very solution focused and you have to be very, complaining about something about that. Okay, how are we going to fix it?
Yeah.
Right? You sliced into 14, supposed to be 12s. Okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
How can we fix the next batch? How fast can that happen?
Without blame, because that's what I find so important. Like not blaming who did. I'm just like you said.
It is what it is.
Let's go. We got to go because that's already done.
Yeah,
like,
it's over. It's over.
So why? Yeah. So
I want to close it down, but my name is on the lease. Okay, I can't believe I did. Okay, all right, it happened.
It happened.
Okay, so you took it back over. So you're back in the mix. You're back in the trying to get that business
where it needed to be, hiring a few people on, some of the people that were still there, trying to figure it out. At that point, we were doing stuff again still with Red Rocks. Harper's ended up taking over. We were doing their desserts and stuff for them, and then we turned it into Crumbs Bakery, from Bellini's to Crumbs, which was one of Harper's things, because Harper's restaurant group had the Mimosa upstream, obviously the Harper's concept and a few other concepts that have opened and closed. But we were doing stuff for them, and then they wanted to do breads for all their locations. So that's kind of how that all occurred. So they took over the lease, good, move on. From there, I got into...
Okay, so you kind of wiped your hands clean to that one.
Yeah, good, move on. And got into...
What years is that? Like, what years is this whole...
2000 to... all of this span is 2000 to 2004, 2005.
So it's a 4 or 5 year thing.
Yeah, between opening the dessert
doors to actually...
BK, going back, yeah.
So Harper's takes it over.
Yeah.
And then what's your next project? What are you working on?
Mama Foods at Cotswold. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was just thinking back, so that now that you put it in time frame, so what did I learn in that time frame was just that too. Learning yet again the business side of things and how to keep something running and what you got to do and what you got to focus on to, make it all work.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this is the answer.
Yeah, there's
like here, here, that you're always just.
Yeah, there's a lot of I think people sometimes maybe are one dimensional when they see a business and they think, oh, I'm just making a cake. Well, there's also a business side to it where you have to. Price it out and create margin and find your help. Where's that factoring in? And then banking, business accounts, accounting. Are you doing it? Are you hiring somebody out? Like there's so much behind that there is you do need time to learn every aspect of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, awesome. So,
I was doing QuickBooks, on my Excel, just
learning how that works.
Invoices, because we would deliver invoice and then payments.
Sure.
Like Dean and DeLuca wouldn't pay you for like 3 weeks, and you're like,
I need some money.
Really? You don't pay me for 3 weeks, and
I need cash.
I just work from 6 in the morning till like 12 at night. 5 weeks straight, and I don't get paid. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes to show you how important cash flow is in the business.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's something that nobody thinks about is just cash flow and terms and how that works. And so, I remember really early on in our business, the same thing. I remember, being maybe having 50 customers, and this is like, man, like we're struggling, paying these bills, and it's like we picked up 20 new customers, and then it's like a wheel, like a cog wheel. Yeah, at every time there's kind of like a little plateau where once you outgrow that, okay, now we're okay. You know what I mean? And so, okay, awesome. So what?
So Mama Foods.
Mama Foods.
Yeah, Mama Foods Asian
Mama
House.
Foods.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a franchise. At that point, Moe's Southwest Grill, if you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
My dad had partnered with a gentleman, John White, up in Raleigh with doing some of the Moe's.
Okay.
And the Moe's market, Nick Smith was here and already had Moe's on lockdown pretty much. And so then that same franchisor came up with the Mama Foods idea, which was fast, casual Asian food.
Okay.
Wok cooking. So went down to Atlanta to take a look at it because my dad was like, hey, these Moe's things are doing well, check it out. And so went down there and looked at it, and I never had cooked. There again, I'm like a sucker for cooking something new. I never wok cooked before, and I was like, this would be really cool. And the food's really good. I think the version, if you're familiar with, have you ever heard of Pei Wei or P.F. Chang's?
Yeah.
So P.F. Chang's had Pei Wei, which is their like fast casual concept, and Mama Foods was similar to that.
Okay.
So that's the kind of a great food, really good.
So you opened Mama Foods?
Opened Mama Foods, the one at Cotswold. There was already one on Parktown, across from Park Road Shopping Center.
So what was that like?
It was great. We had fun doing it, learning wok cooking and running a fast casual concept.
Yep.
So yet again, another business figuring out the business,
and you
food costs, employees, managers, how much we're paying. It's hourly compared to like a full service restaurant where at least your front of the house staff is $213. Well, here you go. So just figuring out businesses, ordering, invoicing, checking all your food.
Did you like that? Like, did you like Mama Food? I mean, having a Burger King background, different style, was it good, better, is it the same?
I wouldn't say it was the same. It was a franchise. The support, I would say, was different than what you could get from Burger King because it was brand new.
Gotcha.
So
That makes sense.
They were very small. They only had a small team of people.
Gotcha.
So
you were there. You had that for how? You had that? Is it still there?
No, that was 10 years. We had that for 10 years, and then once that was up, that's when we flipped it into the Improper Pig.
Okay.
That was the first pig that occurred. Was that in that Mama Foods location because my lease came up.
Okay.
So I had 2 5-year options. I was like, well, the Mama Foods was a good business, but it was always broke even or lost a little bit. Nothing that was like, okay,
crazy profitable or anything. Okay.
And then so it needed a new, so at that point I was like, well, I'm not gonna, if I can save 7 cents of every dollar, because that was what I paid them.
Yeah.
But the franchise was like, if I can save that, then that allows me to have an extra GM or an extra manager in the system. I'd rather pay it for that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, we'll do our own thing and do the Improper Pig.
So Improper Pig, that location was the very first store that you did that was non-franchise?
No. So after that was, I was just giving it 10 years. So after Mama Foods, we ended up opening a Moe's up at North Lake Mall.
Okay.
So we did that. That did well. It was, a new place in the beginning. So had Moe's, and then Flying Biscuit Cafe. So this is all the same franchisor had all 3 concepts.
Okay.
So they had bought the Flying Biscuit Cafe from Delia Champion in Atlanta, who created it back in the early 90s.
Okay.
Really cool concept. She put a lot of love into that whole concept. So anyways, they bought it. and they had already signed the lease out at Stonecrest Shopping Center. They came to us knowing from the Mama Foods and the Moe's, and they're like, hey, we like y'all as operators. We think this is a good opportunity. We've already signed the lease. Do you want to check it out? So we went down to Atlanta, looked at the concept, my dad and I, and was like, yeah, this is a cool concept. We'll do it. So opened that, and then after Flying Biscuit.
What years is all that? Mama Foods was what year?
2004.
Okay. So you were wrapping up the dessert thing.
Yeah.
And then you started out Mama Foods.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when was the
training? And then
Moe's?
Moe's was about a year after that.
Okay.
I would say.
All right.
Yeah. Stonecrest probably, I can look it up, but I think it opened probably 2007 probably.
So within a couple of years, you had a couple of different styles and a couple of different locations.
Yeah.
Was that difficult? Was that, understatement?
Well, it's just a challenge just from if you're doing the same thing, it's be like, hey, Johnny, go from here and help out over here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you can't, because he's doing the same job every day. Well, then go cook eggs over here, which I was able to do with some of the people I ended up moving around and learning. So that part was fun because they got to learn new things. But also, the subbing. So that
makes sense.
Yeah.
Same restaurant, 4 locations. Okay, this is, hey, go make
somebody sure and go
pizza from here to pizza over there.
Yeah, I don't have to train you. Go work pizza station at this location.
But from, improper or the Flying Biscuit to,
Moe's rolling burritos to working a walk. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it was a challenge. It was fun. I'm up for a challenge. So after that, Pizza Peel came on board.
Okay.
And that came about because my dad was friends with a gentleman, Paul McBroom, that owned the neighborhood theater in Noda. And he was friends with a guy who had the Mellow Mushroom franchise here in Charlotte.
Okay.
It ended up closing. He didn't, something about Mellow, he didn't approve, or I'm not sure. But he opened up the Moondog Cafe. So he flipped over Mellow to Moondog Cafe and kind of did the same menu. Mellow got a judgment against him, said you can't serve pizzas anymore. So he had the lease, and my dad said, hey, you want to take over a restaurant? All the equipment's in there. It'd be an easy in for something. So I said, sure. At the time, I was reading that book, I think it was American Pie by Peter Reinhardt.
Okay.
All about pizza and stuff. So I was reading that, studying through.
Gotcha. American Pie, like a pizza pie.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. I think it's American Pie. I know it's Peter Reinhardt's book all about pizza. I'm pretty sure it's American Pie. And it's all about the story of searching for the great, the best pizzas and all that. So that kind of inspired me to come up with some pizza concept from, I actually got in touch with Peter Reinhardt at the time.
The author?
He's the author of the book, but he's an amazing bread person.
Okay.
Like he's a bread chef, pastry chef, Johnson and Wales alumni too. So he's a big deal. But he was here in Charlotte at the time with Johnson and Wales, and I'm big into music, bluegrass festivals, and just live music overall.
Yeah.
But there was a festival that Donna the Buffalo does every year, Shikori Hills, up in Carrboro, North Carolina. So I know it's a crazy story, but the guys there had they have a pizza shop, and their crust was just like spot on. You take a bite of it, it's got this crunch and then this chew. So anyways, I emailed Peter, like, these guys come down from New York. I don't know how they do it, but this is what I'm looking for. He shot me a few recipes, and I ended up playing with them. And that's how I came up with the dough recipe for the Pizza Peel.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is a great story, right? When I first opened, I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have, you get your choice of white dough or wheat dough.
Okay.
And I did 8 inches, 12 inches, and 16 inches.
Okay.
So you come in, hey, I want a pepperoni pizza, white or wheat dough, you got your choice. So literally after the first week, because I was making all the dough, after the first week, I'm sitting there like, this isn't going to work.
I can't do this.
Well, you had to have on your dough tray, you had to have 6 different trays. So when you make a batch,
that makes sense.
A batch of dough, I'm going to have to do 8 ounces, 12 ounces, and 21 ounces. So I'm dough balling all this and separate, and I'm like,
it's too much.
It's way too much.
Hey, you can't execute that many. Yeah.
No, you can't, because if I'm giving you a choice, then I'm either having product that's going to blow, And plus, I'm wasting all my time, so I was like, oh, there's a good lesson, idiot. Like, what were you thinking? So I went to two sizes, a 16 and an 8, and one dough. And I like the wheat dough better. So it's a 10% wheat flour and then high gluten flour, 90%, and then molasses in there. So the molasses, it takes longer for the yeast to break down molasses, so we do a slow rise process, but it just had a different flavor profile than just normal. So that's why
it's so funny you say that, because we had pizza peel earlier right here, and I literally commented on the crust or the bread. I was like, man, this it looked like gluten free, flour. I was like, man, I'm like, this is. I literally promise you, an hour ago we were like, I was like, this is so interesting. It was great. I loved it.
Awesome.
But anyway,
it gives it a little different flavor profile.
Very different. Yeah. Okay, so you're messing around with the dough, trying to figure that out.
Open up the restaurant there. They Mellow Mushroom, and the guy who had it before was into beers, so he had a huge beer cooler. We had 43 beers on tap at the time. So beer and pizza, we did that for a bit, and then Flying Biscuit over at Park Road Shopping Center. Okay. The gentleman who owned the center had spoken to one of my father's friends, and ended up, they were looking for something breakfasty, so we ended up signing a lease with them and opened up the Flying Biscuit at Park Road. Nice. Which was fun. And then from there, we did the Monkey Joe's at Park Road too.
Monkey Joe's?
Yeah, Monkey Joe's was also, it was like an indoor inflatable place.
Yeah, that's right.
So that only. How
did that come about?
Because same franchisor as Mama Foo's, Flying Biscuit, all that was same franchisor. So the first outside restaurant was the Pizza Peel at Cotswold. Gotcha. Was the very first one that was outside of the franchising. So yeah, that just came about because that building out there that used to be the old Casa Gallardo's in Charlotte. I mean, it's been Champs Americana. It was that big building where the Shake Shack and everything is now. Yeah. So that came up, and it was a great rent number. So I was like, hey, let's give it a shot. So yeah, that came up, did that, and then we did the Pizza Peel on Central, and then we did the Improper Pig. That's when the switch at Mama Foo's. So that's we did all that in that 10-year span. Okay. And that's when the lease, I had the 5-year more option. Gotcha. So that brings us back on that. And so I was like, hey, let's do something and see if we can make money, because the rent number went up a little bit. So that's how we came up with the Improper Pig. Darius, who was in here, obviously, that you already know. But he and I sat in and did the menu in about a week. We knew we wanted to do a barbecue place, and so we just kind of created that menu and put it together and ran with it. Did
you have any background in barbecue, or no? That was like lesson learned again, like just different.
I mean, just stuff in the house. I never worked in a barbecue restaurant.
Gotcha.
We had, but just like I said, the barbecue chicken my parents do. I do butts. I've done butts. I had never done the brisket, but done pork and
Gotcha.
I always cook too. That's just. I'm always cooking at the house,
yeah.
Making tacos from scratch. I make the shells. I'm into the process of food. So if there's something I want to be able to make the whole thing from.
Have you always been like that? Or did you maybe get that at Johnson & Wales? Or you saw mom do that?
I think it's just my mom being into food. Yeah, definitely. My mom being into food and going, okay. I find joy in cooking for someone and making I think that's part of what the restaurant business is, trying to make people happy and lively. So I find joy in if I make you something, you're like, man, this is great. I feel like, oh, that's cool. That's where I find joy.
I feel like a lot of people in the restaurant business are like that.
Yeah.
Right? They just have a heart to serve a client or a customer and make them dang, they were like, dang, that was a good sandwich, or that was a good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And so, because I feel like that's what my dad is too. He's very into he's, just Greek dad, that just wants to take care of the people and hook them up with some onion rings, or take them some an appetizer on the house. He's just very that kind of person.
Yeah. Which I think is what delivers success. I mean, I can remember stories at Mama Foo's being closed just closed down. A couple comes in, they're late from the airport. It's 10:05, and I'd already shut everything down and everything. And like, oh, are y'all? I'm like, oh yeah, of course. I'll cook you something.
What do you want?
What do you want? I got you. Well, can we pay? No, I've already closed. I don't, but you're here, like. And so I think that connection, something like that, as opposed to, no, we closed it at 10. Sorry.
Yeah.
The thought, like these people came off the plane and came into our space, like, let's take care of them.
Yeah. Or it's 9:49, we're already closed.
Yeah.
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 So interesting.
But yeah, that was that. So then we did the peel at Central.
Yeah.
From there, or no, we had done the peel at Central. Then we did the pig. Then we did the peel out at Matthews, and then another improper pig down in Fort Mill.
Okay.
Really amazing space, downtown, old mill town, but it's literally on the strip of Fort Mill. So much character in the building. We took off. I'm looking at the brick because we took off the plaster on one of the walls, and this huge brick wall that goes the whole side of the building.
Yeah.
And it's a Pepsi-Cola sign.
Nice.
That was painted on because that was a billboard. They added our building on in like 2007 or 1907. As I think when they added ours. So they covered up the wall and put plaster over it. So I mean, it's still there. You can go in and see. It's a beautiful wall. You're like, wow, this is really cool. So it's really cool space.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just when I walked in and saw that, I was like, man, this place has good energy.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be cool to do a restaurant in here.
What have you learned about opening all these restaurants and location? Do you have to have the right location, or can food overcome that? Can service overcome that, or is that what are your thoughts generally speaking on if someone wants to start a business? Location, where it's at, where it's located, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you can build a business anywhere, but location obviously is huge.
Is a factor.
Yeah, because the more traffic that's coming through is more traffic coming through.
Yeah.
Right? So the numbers are bigger.
Yeah.
Just
based
the
eyeballs,
off volume.
Seeing the store.
Yeah, which the restaurant business, right, is, if you're lucky, you're 30% food cost.
Yeah.
30% labor, which now is higher than both. So out of every dollar, you're 60 cents if you're good at what you do.
Which is very hard, especially right now.
Yeah, in Proper Pig, we're at 40% food cost because meat's through the roof.
Exactly.
42. So in a business where at the end of the day, if you can put, they say 5 cents into your pocket on every dollar, you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
So numbers, if you're in a location that's doing numbers,
matter.
They matter. So, but you can build a successful restaurant anywhere, or business by taking care of people. Look up. But if you have both, it's
you're stacking the odds in your favor.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that. Okay, awesome. I guess maybe wrapping up, what are any tips to anybody out there that wants to start a business? Obviously you've had a lot of experience with, your family, franchises, your own, desserts, barbecue, Asian. I feel like you've almost done every. Is there anything that you haven't done? Is there any concepts that you haven't touched? Steakhouse? Have you done steakhouse?
I haven't done the steakhouse.
Okay, so maybe steakhouse.
We do have great grilled meats on the menus at the Proper Pig. We have a hickory fired grill.
There you go.
Yeah, we do steak. We do our ribs on there, chicken, salmon. So
here's a good question: favorite dish at the restaurants?
Out of all of them?
No, maybe one at each restaurant.
Okay.
Is there anything that you really enjoy Or what do you order when you go?
I would go the pizza peel. Pizza-wise, I'm going the Godfather pizza.
Okay, Godfather.
If I'm looking for something, right now my current thing is the kitchen sink burrito.
Okay.
So that's all veggies. That's something I'll just make. I was making it myself because I go in and be, obviously always on the run. So I make a veggie burrito and crush it to the next place because you don't have time to sit down and eat something heavy. It's like, we got to go.
Yeah. So
kitchen sink burrito at the peel, off saute. I'm weird, man. So Improper Pig, our no pig sandwich. delicious.
No pig sandwich?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a vegetarian
thing.
So it's a marinated portobello mushroom with balsamic vinegar. Grill that off, smoked tomatoes, roasted red pepper, goat cheese to give it good creaminess, and pesto, pickled onion on there.
I think that sounds good.
It's delicious. Yeah, it's good. So I would go no pig, or my other favorite thing to do, because like I said, I'm usually on the go. If I'm cooking at home. So this is all usually lunch or late afternoon stuff.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorites is I'll take the our black eyed pea salsa. And then put our slaw on top. Eat the slaw first. Then when you get to the black eyed pea salsa, it's got the creaminess from the slaw. That's good.
Hey, these are the secrets, okay?
These are the secrets.
Yeah, these are the. Hey, you're lucky you stuck around to do this podcast because I love that.
Yeah, they might be like, "What? You're ordering what?" Like, I just go in and make it though.
Hey, this is Will's secret recipe. Just so you know,
the goods. And then at the Flying Biscuit Cafe, I'm going for. With the black bean cakes, we have a dish that's got black bean cakes, eggs, green salsa, tomatillo salsa, and then I'm a Cholula nut, so I'll like douse it in Cholula, a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of onion on top. So
I love
that's
that.
it.
I love that.
And the grits, the creamy, dreamy grits, can't beat those.
The grits.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so tips for anybody that's maybe wanting to start a business. What are some suggestions, like, 1 tip, 2 tips, just off the top of your head? What are some things that, if you're talking to a 18, 20, 25-year-old, maybe somebody that's been, maybe their family owns a business, maybe no one in their family has ever owned a business before. What would you suggest to them? Work under somebody, find a mentor, do some due diligence, find something that they like. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say the best would be if you're young enough and you can have the opportunity to just go in and figure out, like working, if you have a job but you want to get into your own business, working for someone, going in and be like, I'll be here from this time to this time, and this is what I can give you. Just to see, like, okay, what is this about?
Yeah.
Do I like this? Do I like the hours of this business? Is it,
that's a good point.
As opposed to just jumping right in, opening anything, be like, hey, I'm going to go really check it out before maybe I don't like it. Ask questions, That's a good point. I mean, I think just, it's interesting you say that. Well, my whole family dubbed me as the attorney of our family. They're like, Nick, he's the talker. We'll get him. I interned at a law firm when I was in high school. I hated it. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Luckily, I actually worked.
Yeah.
And I didn't just go immediately go and get a political science degree, and then I find out 7 years later that I hate it. You know what I mean? And so I like that. That's very good, sound advice for anybody. Go work for somebody or go volunteer. Go work for free for a couple hours, 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
And just see do you like roofing? Do you like landscaping?
Yeah.
Do you like XYZ catering or, working for a bakery or whatever? I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Anything else?
No, just be open. I'll try to stay open to everything that's coming your way. Find happiness, enjoy in what you're doing, and figure it out.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Cool.
Yeah.
Will, thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Hope you guys appreciated it. I know I did. Episode 15, Season 2 of the Paper Trails podcast. They can find you guys, obviously, you're Charlotte and the surrounding areas.
Yep.
Go stop by these guys' restaurants, Improper Pig, Pizza Peel, Flying Biscuit Cafe. Amazing food. We just had lunch there today. And so follow these guys on all their social media platforms and stay tuned. We have more episodes to come. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.
The restaurants you love, the food you crave, and the people that make it all happen. We tell their stories on the Paper Trails podcast with Albemarle Paper Supply.